nose cone and it's billowing. The same thing here, it's getting a nose cone and it's starting to billow. So I don't know if they're going this way, coming toward us, or going away. I don't know which it is, but yeah, the clouds are looking very similar as yesterday, there was some really hard weather yesterday. More interesting clouds here. I think that's a similar cloud that I think the cloud that was over there was moved over here, and that's what it looks like now. A little puffy, or it's getting puffy. So I think that's a cumulus cloud that is getting puffy. That's what it looks like toward the strip now. There's the strat, and there's the storm system that blew through here last night. So it's chilly here this morning. It's 65 degrees right now, which is not characteristic of the month of May, in the middle of the month of May in Vegas. It's more characteristic of beginning of California summer. So it's odd weather. And there's the development of that cloud now about a half hour later after I've gone grocery shopping. So they're really getting puffy now and big and billowing. This one's not as billowed as that one right there, but it is billowing a bit. And that started when I went into the grocery store. Over here by the shelf, there was the beginnings of billowing that you see now. Something very interesting here right now, not just that the temperature is like California, but the clouds are much more like clouds that you would see and are characteristic of along the California coastline, like on the west side, Santa Monica, Palisades, Topanga, Malibu. In that area where I've lived, we had a lot of clouds like this, and that's why I thought it looked a lot like the marine layer when it comes in. They're nice and low like this, and they get big, fat, and puffy. They're really pretty to look at, and every night on the coast, about this time of year, they roll in. It looks a bit like pea soup, it gets really foggy, and they intertwine with the coastal mountains. So it's really pretty, and it becomes kind of a beloved moment on the west side. And these clouds are a lot like those clouds now, which is odd to see them here, or at least have them look like the west side's clouds. Okay, this is about 15 minutes later. The cloud's getting fatter and wider, and it's moving, the storm is moving that way. So that is South Fort Apache up there, and this is Sahara. So South Fort Apache and Sahara will be around that bend about a half mile, and the storm is moving that direction towards South Fort Apache, like crossing over that direction. Okay, it's gotten wider and fatter. I was on before the first time 2 magnification, then the next time 1 magnification. Now I'm on 0.5x magnification for the cloud to fit into the camera frame. And it's also had little itty bitty rotations that just like dissipate. Or I guess it's called roping out, but I don't know if that applies to like the little wispy stuff that just goes after it rotates. It'd get like 1 or a half rotation and then just go like that. So this is over by the Ashley Furniture Store, which is at the corner of Sahara and South Fort Apache. It took me about 15 minutes to get up here, and this cloud was over at the golf course, which is about a half mile away. So it took you about 15 minutes to go a half mile. Okay, so now the camera is still on 0.5 magnification. That's 1 magnification. One of the really interesting things, besides the fact that the cloud is like, it's taking a different shape, but it's getting fatter as it takes a different shape, is that it's now moving this way. The wind has shifted and it's now going this way. It moved all the way from the golf course all the way up here to South Fort Apache, and now the wind is pushing the cloud that way. Interesting. And some of the things the cloud is doing is interesting. That is a really intriguing cloud. I shouldn't have been able to see it over here because all these buildings should have blocked it, but now it's marching its way back toward Well, let's see, it's going this way, so I don't know if it'll hit the golf course, but now it's going the opposite direction. And it's a lot lengthier, like thinner, different, but it's still billowed, really billowed in the middle. Let me see if I can raise it up high enough to see. That part of the cloud is really interesting to watch. It forms a little funnel and then it just disperses and it twists and then it just dissipates. But it forms a very distinct, teeny tiny little funnel that's twirling. It reminded me of your ice cream sundae at Costco that goes in the cup. You know, it was like that, only the swirl and the chocolate. That's what it reminded me of. And then it just dissipates. So yeah, this cloud is really interesting to watch. And it's really intriguing that it marched its way up here and now it's marching its way back. This cloud is starting to have the same, let me go on 5, having the same shape as that one that I saw the day the rotation was down on the strip. It had the flat right here and that billowed up and it had some billowing or circulation down here. This one, it's the number of shapes this cloud has taken in the last hour is really intriguing. See what I mean? It's starting to have the same shape, except for this one has this extension, which was kind of the shelf, like it had that soft, streaky stuff that I've seen the other shelves have. This is interesting to watch this cloud. It's taking an entirely different shape now. Let me see if I can get the pot hidden behind the fireplace. Everything about it is a little different now. And that took 5 minutes for it to do that. A whole 5 minutes for it to do what it's doing right now. It was a big, giant, sprawling cloud that possibly was about a mile long, and now all of that length is going that way. That cloud right there was 2 tiny little clouds that maybe were like this and like that right there when they started out, and now they've grown into that, which that's where the other one is, and that's what happened to the 2 tiny little clouds that were following that cloud. So now that cloud is just dissipating and becoming very small. It still has similar characteristics, but it's really tiny now. That's really interesting. It grew from something about this size into about a mile long cloud, and now it's this cloud that maybe it's a half mile wide, but it's not as billowed, nor is it as powerful. That was interesting to watch the development of that. And now here's what those 2 tiny little clouds look like. They grew into that big cloud. That cloud's maybe a half mile wide, and this is what those 2 tiny little clouds are doing. It's really interesting to watch these things. They start out something really tiny and get big like that. They were little itty bitty like these things, and now it's big like that. Now it's back over here and it's getting fat again. And this is what it looks like up close. This is 1.8 magnification. So let's see. There's 2. There's magnification 2. It's made its way all the way back over here, almost to the corner of, so right over there on the other side of that is South Fort Apache and Sahara. So it's almost back to the corner of South Fort Apache and Sahara. That cloud right there is in a similar place as the other one. The other one moved on because the wind conditions are very strong. Wind gust right now, and it's still a rather cool breeze, but the wind shifted from that direction to this direction. So I'm guessing, I'm just an amateur weather nerd, but I'm guessing that the wind and weather conditions in that very spot have produced the exact same shaped cloud right there. So I'm not sure what causes a shelf-like shaped cloud to form, but another one has formed in exactly the same spot. So that's my hypothesis. It's quite interesting that both clouds went through the same process. Like, let's see, right there, that one, so I'll go this way. The one that's right there has a little round thing that sometimes drops down, and it forms like a slight funnel, and then it just like goes away. And I think that's called roping out, but I don't know for sure. And I don't exactly know what the little thing that drops down is called. I think that's the oil cloud. But both of these clouds did the same thing. They got real wide and puffy, and now it's flattening out as it's making its way this way.